constantly worrying about that appointment, and it was fine. And I can say from my own experience that speaking your truth, expressing your uniqueness, refusing to bow to the sheep mentality, refusing to be a clone, refusing to be what someone else tells you must be, is seems much more difficult when you're thinking about doing it than it is when you actually do it. And we're in a situation now, 20 years ago, crikey, it was much more difficult. But now we're in a situation where more and more people are waking up, more and more people want to break out of the herd, and it's much easier now. I'm not saying it's easy, but much easier because there are more people you can connect with who are awakening to the same perception.
I was just thinking, actually, as you were talking then, a small example from my personal experience is I decided I wouldn't immunise my children. Now, the way Australia gets you is once you immunise your children, then you get a $7,000 baby bonus. Because a lot of parents just think, oh, well, we'll immunise, And so I thought, well, basically, I don't care, I'm going to give up the $7,000 baby bonus. But it's funny, I was thinking the way the consciousness supports you is I didn't get my child immunised. I had 3 letters sent to me from the government telling me was I aware my child wasn't immunised, blah, 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 blah. And I happened to go to a GP one day about something else, and I was telling her about the fact that I hadn't had my daughter immunised, and she said, if you lodge a conscientious objection, you can still get that money. And I said, I beg your pardon? And she said, if I write you something that says, I as a doctor verify this parent has lodged a conscientious objection to immunisations, you can lodge that and you still get that money. And I said, is that right? And I did that, and I did get that baby bonus money, and now I tell everybody, you don't have to have your kids immunised. Oh, and by the way, if you lodge a conscientious objection, you still get your $7,000. And that, to me, was the way. Brilliant. Yeah, that was the way that consciousness, once I stepped out of the programming and stepped out of the fear, said, you know what, I'm still going to support you. So that it's
amazing what you can achieve. My son now, he's 16. He's 6'4", looks down on me, and he's never had a vaccination in his life. Never had a childhood disease either. Not that it's a bad thing to have childhood diseases, because it kickstarts the immune system. And this is an interesting point, vaccines, because you have to put them together with food additives, drink additives, and all these chemical concoctions. And again, it's understanding the nature of reality and how we interact with it. That's the point where you can understand so many things that happen in the world from a much greater perspective. The body computer is a electrochemical organism, and it's also a crystal. It's a liquid crystal, and people don't realize that we have trillions and trillions and trillions of cells, and the membrane of every cell is crystalline. It's crystal, and DNA is crystalline. We are crystals because we receiver transmitters. That's what the body is. And if you are receiving, transmitting, and decoding to your full potential and full sharpness and clarity, then you can see things, perceive things that other people can't see. So part of the conspiracy, key part, is not just to program the computer with a sense of reality. It's also to destabilize it chemically, electrically, so that it's not a receiver transmitter of the potential that it should be. And of course, when we take in chemical concoctions, it destabilizes the body's chemical system, which is connected fundamentally to the electrical system. And the electrical system is imbalanced, so is the chemical system, and vice versa. And these electromagnetic fields and soups that we now live in, mobile phones and all the rest of it, the microwaves, they are also destabilizing the body computer electrical system so that it doesn't decode with clarity and the sharpness that it could. And vaccines come under this. I'm sure it must be getting on that way, if not the same way in Australia, but in America and Britain there's now 25 vaccinations before the age of 2. And this is attacking with horrible poisons the human immune system. And the human immune system is the body computer's far more, staggeringly more advanced version of Norton antivirus in a computer. It's there to seek out threats to the body computer and to either isolate them so they can do no harm or destroy them. And the more powerful the immune system is, the healthier you are, because any threats, and of course the body's coming under chemical, viral, electrical threat all the time, is sorted out by the immune system. But what you're doing with children is you're bombarding a developing, still not fully developed, in terms of the age of 2, nothing like fully developed immune system, with all these chemical poison concoctions, and basically you're devastating it, which opens children up as their lives unfold to getting illnesses and attacks getting through to harm the body that the immune system would normally sort out. This is what's happening. I mean, I have this thing, this phrase I say, take a deep breath, take a step back, look at it again. We get so close to things that we only see them in myopia. We don't see them in terms of what we're actually looking at in terms of the big picture, the forest instead of the twigs. And so what we're looking at in terms of the human immune system and vaccinations is destroying the body's defense mechanisms at a very early age, opening up the body as the life unfolds to endless attacks, not just physical, but mental and emotional attacks that would normally be sorted out. It's all a process of destabilizing us so that we're isolated in mind and isolated in a fraction, even of this virtual reality universe, in terms of our perception.
Yes, yes, it's very uplifting when you explain stuff like that, and you understand it. But when you can actually have somebody verbalize your thoughts, it's very inspiring. And I just hope everybody who comes to see you in Melbourne on April the 11th, which is the Easter weekend, and I know 5 people from the West are flying out there. I'm sure there's many more. Over 1,200 tickets have already been sold to this, people, so if you do want to see David, you better get up to the Truth Movement Australia's website and book your ticket. You've been very generous with your time, David, but I just wanted to ask you a couple more things, if that's all right.
No problem, Leah.
Now, it seems to be a bit of an intensity happening at the moment, perhaps from the global elites side. Is that just because I'm noticing it more, or it seems to be like it's all been arced up?
It's moving on fast.
Yeah.
Because going back to what I said earlier, the more you centralize power, the more power you have to centralize even quicker. And this process of gathering power in the hands of fewer and fewer people, agents and absolutely direct representatives of this bloodline family network, is getting more and more centralized all the time. And therefore they're able to have more power to introduce more and more of their agenda quicker and quicker and quicker. And it is unfolding faster and faster. But I can say from my own experience, because when I kind of woke up 20 years ago, it was a lonely place. And there seemed to be no evidence that any kind of mass awakening was going to happen. Well, all this time later, I travel all over the world all the time. All over the world, this is happening, and on a tremendously gathering scale. And so, although the conspiracy and its progress is what is reported in the media, as people who are aware of it see the different parts of the agenda unfolding and being introduced through legislation. Of course, the media are not reporting or even acknowledging the existence of this awakening, and I can tell you, it's getting more and more and more powerful and expanding all the time. And these are not just challenging times; they're very exciting times, because we're at the fork in the road where we're now faced with a choice to follow the mind program and live in a global fascist state within a decade, or go through the heart and become conscious, in which case this whole paradigm, this whole construct will collapse, because it's based on us not being conscious. And it may seem trite and it may seem simplistic, we just must become conscious, but everything comes from that. I mean, it's like if you're in a darkened room and there's things you want to do in that darkened room, but you can't see to do them, then fundamental to everything you want to do is turning the light on so you can bloody see.
Yeah.
And then